Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Recently, I came across a term called Dopamine Menu, and as a psychiatrist, it obviously piqued my interest. So today I'll talk to you about dopamine and dopamine menu. In a previous video, I've already talked about slow dopamine and fast dopamine, but let's do a recap in case this is your first video on my channel. If it's your first video, do check out my other videos on YouTube and do consider subscribing. I'm a psychiatrist, a mental health professional, as well as I focus on a lot of self-development content here on YouTube because I believe that working on ourselves is the secret to leading a very happy and fulfilling life. So now, without too much ado, let's start with what is slow dopamine and what is fast dopamine. But before that, what is dopamine? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. It is a reward neurochemical. It is something that is produced in the brain, and the most important part of it, it regulates any behavior that is associated with reward. It is the happiness neurochemical that you get when you achieve something after a long, hard day of work. When you study for 2 hours and you sit down with your favorite TV show, that is when you're getting dopamine after the 2 hours of study. After a gym workout, you're getting dopamine. After years of hard work, when you finally enter your dream college, that is a spurt of dopamine. Dopamine is something that is associated with hard work followed by reward. Now let's come in this era of social media. Nowadays, you can get dopamine without putting in the hard work. So it is happiness minus the hard work. Sounds fun, right? But not for long. Because that is when we see that the dopamine receptors are getting super sensitized. The dopamine receptors are not working properly, and a lot of people are coming with symptoms of depression and associated amotivation or not having the will to do anything. So they'll always go for the easier option, being lazy, sitting in bed, choosing the junk food option, not working out, not putting in hours into studies or hard work. So this is actually something that we need to address, that what is slow dopamine and what is fast dopamine. Fast dopamine is quick dopamine that you're getting without putting in any effort. It's the quick, easy dopamine like magic. Every time you open Instagram, you see bright, colorful pictures. Every time you open YouTube, Facebook, and other social media apps that are designed to make you feel happy without you having to put in any effort. Now let's come to slow dopamine. Slow dopamine is the dopamine you get after putting in some hard work. Imagine cutting all the vegetables, arranging all the products that you need to cook a recipe, and then making a 3-course meal for your family. That is slow dopamine. Imagine putting 2 hours into your workout routine, walking, gym, running, and then feeling that your body is undergoing positive changes. You're feeling more energetic, you're losing weight, you're looking happier, your skin is glowing. So I think that is the most important part about today's generation, that we have become so accustomed to fast dopamine, we are forgetting the importance of slow dopamine. So why is slow dopamine important? Why do we need it? We can just have fast dopamine, right? But slow dopamine is needed because it is the most long lasting, it is the most fulfilling, and it is the most permanent form of dopamine. Slow dopamine takes time to rise in your brain, and the receptors are much more sensitive. You do not have fatigue, you do not have receptor desensitization, and these kind of things that are actually going to make it impossible for you to sustain it on a long-term basis. So let's talk about slow dopamine and some activities. So here I'm going to give you a list of activities that can release slow dopamine, and this is something that you can go through that will help you understand why slow dopamine is so important. And in the second part, let's focus now on the most important thing. I told you that term in the beginning of the video, dopamine menu. So just like when you go to a restaurant and you have a menu in front of you, what if dopamine could be like a menu? So you could have starters, main course, and as well as dessert. So let's give some examples. So maybe you have a 5-minute window. So that could be your starter. In that 5 minutes, these are your options that you can follow. And feel free to add some things that you would like to do that would be starter in the dopamine menu for you. So for me, it can be something like listening to a song, getting some housework done, maybe finding what I'm going to wear for tomorrow, maybe looking up some new ways to, do your makeup, changing your fashion, things like that. Maybe it can even be listening to something motivational, a motivational video. Maybe it can be a walk in nature. It can be walking barefoot on grass. It can be walking by the beach. So these can be 5 minutes of your slow dopamine and some starters from your dopamine menu. Now let's come to the main course. Main course can be a long activity. It can be something that you can do over half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. So it can be something like maybe pottery. It can be something like painting a picture. It can be something like composing music, going out for a long workout, going out for a long walk in nature, meeting your family and friends, a family reunion, a friend reunion that spans over 2 to 3 hours, where you share a lot of laughter, jokes, and happy memories from the past. So these can be some examples of the main course. Now let's come to the dessert. Dessert can again be something sweet and something that leaves a lasting taste, because we know that the last meal or the last part of the meal is the most exciting. So for this, I would definitely prefer something like as simple as achievement listing. Just take a journal and list down some significant achievements that you've made this year or the past year or this month, whatever your timeline is. It can be something as simple as just picking up the call and talking to a family member at the end of a long day. It can be something as simple as just trying to learn a new skill. Maybe you're learning a new language. Maybe you're learning how to play a musical instrument. So these can be examples of some desserts from the dopamine menu. Dopamine menu can undergo changes based on who you are. It can undergo changes based on your life situation, the season that we are in. So this is the fall season. So how about some fresh baking, some pumpkin spice, as well as some fall colors in your outfits? It can also be the season based on if it's summer or winter. You can engage in activities, sports, and outdoor activities that focus on that particular season. Also, your dopamine menu can include healthy diet and eating foods that incorporate seasonal produce. So these are some basic things about the dopamine menu that I wanted to talk about. And if you want more, do check the caption for more details on my other videos that talk about dopamine. And do like, share, and subscribe.